Hi, Zizaran here with a video, and this is going to be the patch notes for the upcoming Crucible League for Path of Exile. Has a lot of changes, and well, yeah, there are a lot of changes, including things to systems, including passive tree, breach, and abyss, and loads of other stuff. And we're going to dive into that in this video. So first, let's focus on some really cool things. There are adding 9 new Val skills. Val Arctic Armor ends up being kind of like Ice Block from World of Warcraft, where it gives you insane mitigation to tank like one-shots and stuff like that. Don't know how many times we'll be able to use that for the fight, but it'll be interesting to see. I don't know how I feel about it, if I like it or not. Reap and Val Lightning Arrow. Val Lightning Arrow especially looks really cool. I think that should be like a standalone skill. It's super zippy and flying around the screen. Very cool interactions there. The most exciting one to me is Val Anime Weapon. That ends up summoning unique weapons from things on the ground. That sounds like it's going to be a huge help for single target for a skill that does struggle with that, because it's not always the easiest to make new blades in a boss fight. So it could be very, very strong. We are getting new skill gems. Snipe, which is like this helmet. Then we have a few new support gems as well. Mana Forged Arrows, which is trigger a bow attack when you've used enough mana on other bow attacks. But it also seems to have kind of interesting, cool scaling like Archmage. Prismatic Burst is sort of similar to Wild Strike with random elemental AoE burst. And Momentum is a bit of a weird one. I'm not sure if I've understood it properly. It's giving you a buff when you use the skill without moving. I don't know if this is going to be a defense or damage buff, or if it's something they're meant to use without attack in place. So as long as you're right-clicking on the next monster, you're running faster towards it. Breach are more dangerous and engaging now, so they're getting a lot of changes. So you should be actually getting overwhelmed now by the end of them. They look really cool. Breachstones now only have 2 tiers. It's the normal Breachstone and Flawless. And you actually get a Flawless now by just right-clicking a Blessing, which are a lot rarer now, on the Breachstone. And the normal Breachstones are being upped in level. And they've made everything from Breach more in-game items. And this is perfect. This is like, if you've seen all my past videos, this is some of the stuff that I've been begging for years. More and more chase items. And this is really awesome. So this is the stuff that I am very excited about. Pretty much all Breach uniques have been massively buffed. The old Natal Shield and the old Natal Axe are insane. Hawa and a lot of like Tollfall and stuff, like all of these look really good. I'm guessing you're going to be pretty excited when you drop pretty much any Breach item now. But yeah, so that's very exciting. Abyss is getting changed as well. Every Abyssal Depth is now going to guarantee you to have a Lich, so no longer do you need to look at the loading screen to see if there is a Lich there. And they're going to have these new Spires, so if a Spire spawns, that can drop you the jewels and it can drop you the belts. So now a Lich will only spawn after you've followed it 4 times. And it's really cool because all the Abyss uniques are getting buffed as well. The gloves and stuff looks like they're going to be kind of RNG chase uniques, kind of similar to Watcher's Eyes in a way, where they're going to have different stats on them. So I am pretty excited about that. The belt is now effective 50 to 100%. And that means that you actually want to find like good ones, and you don't necessarily want to divine it, right? Divines you don't have that much access to. Masteries. There's a lot of good and bad here. They've added new masteries and some really cool life ones, but there is a lot of removal of things that we really like and enjoy in the game. For example, the restoration masteries like Determination, Grace, Skitterbelts, they all cost less restoration. They're all gone, wiped out. Really good quality of life things like 15% all res, increased elemental effect, and things like that. There's quite a lot of things that are gone. I was surprised how much is gone. That definitely takes a lot of the wind out of the new exciting ones that are added. There are a few new cool additional ones added, like max res. A very big one, a few very big ones that are added is percentage max life if your chest does not have any life modifiers. Now, that means that if it even has life regen, you can't use that, I believe. And this is really good for things like Cloak of Flame that doesn't have any life on it. It has really cool, powerful properties, and makes it even, in some ways, better than a Lightning Coil. So, very cool. It changes a lot of choice for us there in types of gearing. Instant leech is back, exposure mitigation, wither mitigation, because they've made things more dangerous now. And we get the reserve cluster back. So we do get 12% restoration, like generic restoration back. I think spell suppression masteries, they were the worst ones. Pretty much everything is gone there. For the passive tree nodes, there are some changes. They've added some new nodes to mark, stun, and link skills, etc., and reworked a few things. Not like crazy changes, I would say. A few of them should be nice. It'll be easier to tell and see how these things will be and the layout and stuff once Path of Building and PoE skill tree is updated. Ascendancies. They have done a large rework to Saboteur and Pathfinder. Pathfinder, I would say it's more a buff than nothing. But it has been changed a lot here, and we've seen it a lot on Reddit. People have been talking about it. Pretty happy with the new Pathfinder, because the thing that's removed from Master Surgeon with the 6% life, that's on a mastery now. So now you still have access to it as a Pathfinder, just 2% less. There is that new node that I don't think is strong enough. It's this one. When you've used a Diamond Flask, a Bismuth Flask, or an Amethyst Flask, you get increased effect. I don't know if that's enough to take, but generally Pathfinder should still be pretty strong. I was expecting when they said a rework that it would be dumpstered, but it still has like Infinity Flasks and stuff, and pretty good things. But yeah, it'll be, a lot of these things will become more apparent once we actually start theory crafting builds. But I think I'm overall more happy than sad about the Pathfinder changes. Saboteur gets large changes. They're losing generic damage bonuses and cooldown reduction for traps, but they're getting generic cooldown reduction, maybe making Saboteur the king of something like Cast on Crit, Discharge, etc. and Cost Breeze builds. And they're going to get trigger buffs to double trigger skills, which turns out to be a 30% more damage boost, and could end up being some really interesting builds. It's really hard to see on paper, and honestly, I don't love trap or mine builds anyway, so maybe that ends up being really cool. On the Atlas passive tree, we get some really cool tech, basically wormhole portals in the tree. Thank you, Steel, for probably inspiring them for this. But that's going to be that you don't have to go all the way over from the right to all the way on the left. You can now go through the wormhole without using like 30-40 steel points. So very, very much more accessibility on the Atlas passive tree. This looks amazing. Some things that made me particularly sad was the Ruthless event. It's just, everyone kept telling me I was an idiot for saying and agreeing with them that it was only a side project. And I was like, well, give them the benefit of the doubt. They haven't lied to us about anything like this in the past. So I was just like defending that super hard, but now the main event for the league start is in Ruthless, and I really like that they were experimenting with end of the league Ruthless event. Like, that's cool. I know there's people that like Ruthless, and it's cool for them to have something like that. Like, that's cool at the end of the league, but it didn't seem like there were a lot of people playing that. There were one event that went live on Ruthless, and I don't know, like the Twitch numbers like barely changed. So I don't know, maybe there were shit tons of people playing. That isn't reflected in Twitch viewership, but I was just so shocked seeing that they were making the literal league start event in Ruthless. So it's basically you have to kill Uber Exarch and Uber Eater in Ruthless. And I think there's very few people that can do that. It's actually very few people can do that on softcore. Like, that's generally super hard. And the reason Ruthless didn't vibe with me at all is because it has no movement abilities at all. I think that's like honestly the main thing that made it something I probably won't play, because I was expecting to have like a 10, 20, or 30-second cooldown, and also like the map sustain is so insane. And what ends up being the fact for Ruthless is you end up just spam farming low tier content for so long in hardcore, trying to get back to a regular build's worth of power. So it's not for me, I think, and I'm not very excited about how it turned out. I was a lot more excited about the concept of Ruthless before I got to try it. Another thing, obviously we did lose a lot of masteries and things, but they are now changing leveling to be a lot worse. I wonder how Tai is feeling. But obviously they have like made leveling stranger. Like, first off, they made bosses have that initial mitigation window a few years back. Then they removed things like smoke mine, etc. Now they are removing the wand recipe. They are adding new implicits on ones that should help a little bit. But before, now we had the explicits and the implicits. Now we're just going to have the new implicits that are going to be different. So not a big fan of the wand recipe being gone. Onslaught is gone as a skill gem entirely. They felt like they didn't want skills to have an unfair advantage over skills that had that. So now either you get it from that low level unique helmet, or you don't get onslaught at all at low levels. So everything is slower. The meta technique for racing, which was using Frostblink and Leap Slam, and using the Leap Slam with high attack speed scepters, has been nerfed because attack speed has been removed massively from all the scepters to make that slower. We do get attack speed at lower level now, but they seem to very hard nerf a lot of the early leveling stuff. There were some positive changes with mark skills being available early too. I'm just very worried on these, and I'm a little surprised that they are making leveling worse. So there's a few reasons I'm surprised, because we see so many people on Reddit and so many people in general in our different communities talk about how they wish they had an adventure mode, and it's constantly brought up on podcasts, and GDD know that it's a problem, but they've said, well, we really want to make leveling enjoyable for you, especially in PoE 2. I don't feel like this is necessarily the path to take to make leveling more enjoyable for people on their 5th or 10th character. This is probably going to put some people off making new characters. So I was very sad about that personally, but that's fine. I'll still level at a pretty decent pace. It's just a combination of things that kind of brought my win down, and I was expecting a lot more positivity and a lot more good things, because they do have so much competition now with Last Epoch, you know, really making strides, and Diablo 4 on the horizon. I wasn't expecting this many negative things, and I was expecting a lot more positive things. And honestly, there's not even that many negative things. I guess it's just that there aren't that many things that I am excited about. So I'm probably a little bit more negative than usual. But I'm hoping I'm wrong. I would love to be wrong. I would love to log in and be, this is my favorite league ever, guys. It's even better than Sentinel. But I definitely, I'm a little disappointed here. And I'm sad about how Ruthless is progressing. And it doesn't feel like the side project that they said it was going to be. And I was defending it super hard on that. So yeah, definitely a little disappointed. Again, I would love to be wrong. I would love that I'm just being a whiny bitch and that it all turns out to be okay, because they have the full picture and I don't. So I hope I'm just being a whiny bitch for no reason. That nothing would make me happier than that. How do you guys feel? I would love some positive takes. Please point out things that you're really excited about for the new one, because I'm definitely being more negative than I usually am. You guys can cheer me up this time. Sorry for being a negative bitch, and I hope you guys enjoy the video anyway. Thanks for watching. Sub if you liked the video, but more importantly, try to die less than I do.